Hello, I'm Bill Burrow, City Manager for the City of Hot Springs, and I appreciate the time you've given me today to go through our state of the city. As in every city across this country, the last 23 months have brought challenges and disruptions to our way of life. Although we still face much anxiety and uncertainty about the future, we find strength from each other's actions. From city staff performing essential services to the healthcare workers and many more facing the pandemic head-on, their actions have kept us safe. Our citizens have shown time and time again their resiliency in the face of adversity. That is why this year's State of the City theme focuses on our resolve as a community. One undeniable attribute of this great city is our resolve to stay the course and see things to the end. In this look back at 2021, it will become apparent that as a city, we are not merely surviving during these challenging times, but thriving. I am pleased to report our city continues its upward trajectory, and I again will share how Hot Springs is stronger because of all of your actions. Again, we find ourselves in a familiar place with respect to the state of this fine city. The COVID-19 infection curve is falling, along with active cases and hospitalizations. Our community and economy are stronger and more optimistic than pre-pandemic, and a sense of normalcy appears to be on the horizon. If there is one thing that COVID-19 has shown us, it is that life and circumstances can change dramatically. I'm proud of Hot Springs' response toward this pandemic, but it is far from over. Grocery and retail workers, healthcare and public safety personnel, and all of our frontline and behind-the-scenes city staff members, just to name a few groups, have all demonstrated courage and commitment. Now, more than ever, we must keep our resolve as COVID-19 and its ever-growing list of variants continue to present lasting impacts. The most important measure of how COVID-19 has affected our community is in lives. Be it lives lost, lives impacted by COVID, this metric is at the forefront of our decision making. Sadly, Garland County endured more than 420 deaths due to COVID-19 through the end of 2021. To date, that number increases. I send my deepest and sincere condolences to the families and loved ones of those we've lost. There is a saying that leadership is hard to define, and good leadership even harder. In this community, we are truly blessed to have leaders willing to step forward. I wish to express my appreciation to our Board of Directors and their unwavering commitment to this city. They have made many tough decisions this past year, and there will be many more to come. I am humbled by their service. Their annual strategic goals have provided the base from which many great things have been and will continue to be built upon. Leadership matters in times like this, and I am eternally grateful to all who led by example throughout our community. As we have been faced with uncertainty, upheaval, and loss during these trying times, our community has resolved to stay together as one. Together, we have defined what a great city looks like, and now we must work to make this vision a reality. I wish to expound on a few of our major activities from the past year that have further shaped our resolve. The winter storm in February of 2021 brought not only record levels of snow, ice, and frigid temperatures, but presented many challenges to our city, especially our water system. Sub-zero temperatures brought serious health and safety issues that our utilities department and other city employees juggled masterfully. Very few citizens were likely aware of the dangerous outcomes that could have occurred, if not for the quick actions of our staff. The water system struggled to keep up with demand because of burst and frozen water lines that drained all of our elevated storage tanks. Depleted water levels caused drops or loss of water pressure, meaning homes could have gone without service. Boil orders might have been necessary, and fire protection could have been in jeopardy. All of these which occurred to most of our neighboring municipalities. Seeing our staff manipulate our system and labyrinth of valves to move water from and to different parts of our system was nothing short of miraculous. All told, Some 4,000 service leaks had to be located and shut off to prevent additional damage and water loss. Utilities, along with fire department staff, worked around the clock, shutting off water and repairing main leaks for more than 4 days. A majority priority for this community has been securing our long-term water supply. I am pleased to report that the Lake Ouachita Water Supply Project is expected to be completed in late 2023. Bonds were issued in the amount of $110 million to provide funding to construct the new water supply assets, specifically the intake structure, water plant, raw water mains, and potable water mains. Arguably one of the largest infrastructure investments in our city's history, the project spans some 17 miles from the source of Lake Ouachita to the water plant being built on Little Mazarn Road. Through intelligent design that takes advantage of a 60-foot elevation difference, the water will be gravity flowed from the lake to the treatment plant, then pumped an additional 13 miles to the new 3 million gallon Cornerstone water tank. Investments in infrastructure are the building blocks of a city, and our commitment to street improvements continued in 2021. The paving budget was increased to $1.6 million, which provided twice the amount of funding compared to 2020. In addition, the city entered into an agreement with Roadway Management Technologies, which will provide ongoing roadway condition data through their software system. The roadway system uses vibration sensors installed in city vehicles to collect, view, analyze, and report data on road roughness and quality. This will help engineering and public works staff identify key locations that need repair and will increase budget efficiency. Much anticipated Malvern Avenue Gateway Corridor project will transform this once neglected area back into the vaunted gateway of the past. The project is really starting to take shape, with several blocks of Entergy conduit now placed underground on both sides of Malvern Avenue. With the electric feeds underground, the overhead poles have been removed. In addition, several blocks of the medians have been installed. They include decorative street lights, trees, and other landscaping and irrigation. The sidewalk has also been expanded on both sides of the street, and they too will feature new street lights and trees, along with a bus shelter and irrigation risers. You will notice the herringbone brick crosswalks, bike rack benches, rain gardens. A core function of any government is to be accountable to its citizens and to be responsible for their safety. We have among the best police and fire departments in the United States. The departments are made up of men and women from within our community who have taken the oath to keep us safe. In these trying times, our officers act with professionalism, compassion, integrity, and commitment to service. The Hot Springs Police Department has introduced its strategic plan, which is focused on a community-centric approach to public safety. Trends in our major crimes are showing reductions, which is a direct link to the department's multi-level approach strategy. Assault, burglary, and robbery are all down a combined 16%. Each year, the department responds to more than 50,000 calls for service and an additional 63,000 emergency calls to our 911 dispatch center. A new initiative began in 2021 with the creation of a peer recovery support program that has already made significant strides in addressing within our community the opioid crisis that has affected millions across our nation. I want to recognize the 2-year anniversary of the end of watch for Corporal Brent Scrimshire. Each day I think of Brent as I put on this memorial bracelet, but the weight it bears is much more than the actual band could ever be. We can never forget the sacrifices that these men and women of our police department make. You are always in our hearts and prayers, and we appreciate what you do for us and our safety. The Hot Springs Fire Department played an integral role in our response to COVID-19 by assisting with securing personal protective equipment, helping execute vaccine clinics, and facilitating the important weekly Hot Springs-Garland County COVID-19 task force meetings. Additionally, firefighter safety and response equipment has also been brought into service, such as self-contained breathing apparatus and personal thermal imaging devices. The department will be welcoming a new 105-foot tilled aerial ladder truck, which will provide fire protection to our large multi-story hotels and residential structures if needed. Now some of the economic indicators. Economic indicators on all fronts remain strong. The pandemic has been harsh on the overall hospitality industry, but strong pent-up demand for tourism travel has kept the Hot Springs visitor-based economy on stable ground. Even before we saw vaccination rates increase and infection rates decrease, our high number of visitors remained constant. Across the state, tourism tax revenues are posting huge gains brought on by investments in outdoor recreation activities. Arkansas's 2% tourism tax is expected to exceed $20 million in revenue when the 2021 figures are complete. From fishing to hiking and biking, the natural state and the spa city has proven to be a natural draw for travelers wanting to get outside. Each year, Hot Springs draws millions of visitors with its variety of offerings, from one-of-a-kind entertainment and shopping to its natural beauty and wealth of outdoor activities. The investments in outdoor recreation have brought the area many amenities and accolades this past year. Hot Springs National Park is coming off its 100th anniversary, which marked the occasion with an entire year-long series of events and celebrations. At just over 5,000 acres, Hot Springs National Park is one of the smaller parks within the system, but it has a tremendous economic impact on our area. The most recent figures show that visitor spending reached $88 million annually, a figure that will likely increase based on their newly announced visitation records. A Park Service news release stated that the Hot Springs National Park had 2,162,000 recreational visits in 2021, and that the park surpassed 100 million accumulated recreation visits since they started reporting back in 1904. Our burgeoning mountain biking trails continue to gain miles of trail and a nationwide following. With 3 International Mountain Biking Association epic rides all within reach, it is no wonder that Hot Springs was designated an IMBA Bronze Level Ride Center in 2015. Hot Springs might be relatively new to the mountain biking scene, but we have definitely made a name for ourselves. The Northwoods Trail System has grown to 26 miles of world-class riding and arguably some of the best and finest Instagram pics you will find. This project that started off as a partnership between the City of Hot Springs, Visit Hot Springs, and the Walton Family Foundation has grown to include Garland County and the Hot Springs National Park. As predicted, community interest in the trails has grown as well. You are just as likely to see your neighbor at one of the trailheads as you would someone from Alaska or Maine. Although the Sanderson Dam Bridge was built to provide our utilities department access to maintain this and the other dams within the property, it has also been incorporated into the newest addition to the Northwoods lineup of 3 new trails. At 300 feet long, the bridge provides greater access to the 2,000-acre Northwoods. The birthplace of spring training for Major League Baseball now has a facility to match our city's storied history with the sport. The 5-field Majestic Park baseball complex held its groundbreaking in the spring of 2021 following the $7.8 million bond issue approved by the Hot Springs voters. All the fields feature artificial turf infields and outfields on the site that once hosted greats like Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron and Jackie Robinson. Big things are expected in the coming years for this first-class sports facility, along with the increased expenditures for hotels, restaurants, and shopping by the thousands of athletes and their families. In addition, it now provides a place for our hometown youth to play and experience the nation's greatest pastime. A big proponent and tireless supporter of our city, especially Majestic Park, was the late Mike Dugan. He is credited with uncovering our now storied past with Major League Baseball, as well as for being the guiding force behind this project and the creator of the historic baseball trail. We certainly miss Mike. Look no further than the tax revenues for the 3% A&P tax to take notice of a booming return of visitor travel in 21. When compared to 2020 returns, the past year showed a remarkable 35% increase in the A&P tax revenues, bringing in just over $8 million. To provide a fair comparison, 2019 posted $7 million in revenues and was widely considered to be one of the best performing years for the tourism industry. These revenue increases are no surprise due to the approximately 8 million visits to Hot Springs to take advantage of our world-class hospitality. Let's talk about Oaklawn Racing Casino Resort. The nation's premier thoroughbred racetrack continues to deliver great things to the Hot Springs area. A new 66-day live racing season was announced in 2021, which will run from December 3rd through May 8th of 2022. The extended racing calendar offers $100,000 allowance races, with purses projected to be $50 million. The additional race days will fill a gap in the future Horsemen schedule, but will also provide a boost to the economic engine of the city. Not to be outdone, the grand opening of the $100+ million expansion of Oaklawn Racing Casino Resort has provided yet another attraction to our hospitality offerings. A few highlights of the project include an 8-story, 198-room luxury hotel that offers impressive views of the horse track below, and an event center capable of holding 1,500 people for concerts in the highly acclaimed Astral Spa. The casino features slots, live table games, and sports betting year-round. After absorbing the direct hit of COVID-19 and the forced closures of casinos and empty grandstands for the 2020 live racing meet, Oaklawn continues to grow its revenues. A preview of economic boost to be expected was given in 2021, with a 35% increase compared to 2020 and an 18.7% increase compared to 2019. Approximately $3.7 million in casino revenues was provided to the city. All signs that one of the city's main revenue sources is heading in the right direction. Oaklawn and Hot Springs have grown up together, and the impact of their investment in the community will extend far beyond the confines of Oaklawn Park. Now on to our largest and most significant source of revenue, our sales tax returns for 2021. Our previous year's revenue increase of 5.2%, or $14.9 million, was a welcome sight with all the disruption caused by the pandemic. Sales tax collections posted a 14.6% increase across 2021, with a notable increase in March of 32% and April of 35.5%. The final tally of 2021 sales tax revenues was $17.1 million, a strong indicator of the growth and prosperity ahead for the city. If the hospitality industry had some setbacks and slow starts due to COVID-19, the real estate industry picked up the slack in a major way. The Hot Springs real estate community has experienced unheard of activity in sales in this hot market. According to the Arkansas Realtors Association, the Garland County area had a 58% increase for sale valuations in August 2021 compared to that same month in 2020, coming in at $48 million. The huge jump outpaced major markets found in Pulaski, Washington, Saline, and Benton counties. The average price per home sold soared 22.5% to $270,000 compared to 2020, which also posted a huge increase in average price of $230,000. Even with the record number of sales and prices, Hot Springs continues to be an affordable and amenity-rich location. A limited supply of housing units has presented issues to the willing homebuyers who have discovered the Hot Springs market. New residential construction starts totaled 77 for the year, with a combined valuation of $21.4 million. The residential remodel permits help to support new construction, with 417 permits issued with an improved valuation of $10.6 million. Commercial building activity has remained brisk, with 37 total permits and a valuation of $36 million. The rebounding economy has also brought declining unemployment rates for the Hot Springs MSA, closing out the year at 3.7% from a high of 5.9%. Hot Springs has weathered the financial storm that seems to have engulfed the nation. Even with the good fortune and wind at our back, we have maintained our fiscally conservative approach to managing this city. The 2021 adopted budget was $134.6 million, which provided sufficient funding for the board's major priorities as well as a 3.5% COLA for all employees. As part of the board's fiscal policy, 16.5% of annual operating revenues must be maintained as a rainy day fund. This equates to approximately $4.5 million, and through the efficient management of our expenses, $11 million has been placed in reserve. Looking ahead to 2022, there is much work to look forward to, and we will apply the knowledge and the experiences of the past year to keep us moving forward. Development of the Majestic property continues to progress towards the purchase offer from R.A. Wilson in the amount of $2.16 million for the ultimate construction of a 5,000 to 6,000 seat venue. Our homeless population is still without a dedicated resource center, but our area's nonprofits continue their important work. Funding and a location for this project has been identified, so we fully expect to make a meaningful impact in the coming year. The Hope Works program has been renewed for 2022, and based on past results, it will continue to provide much needed guidance and services to our residents who are experiencing homelessness. Our looming Army-Navy hospital is still the greatest unknown. Unfortunately, much of the future direction of the campus is in the hands of the federal government, which has publicly stated that they have no use or funding for the structures. It will take a community effort to keep this project moving forward. Sadly, this will have to be done without one of our biggest supporters. Hot Springs lost one of its true civic leaders with the passing of Clay Farrar. He was a passionate and vocal leader for the fate of the federal property and worked tirelessly on the monumental task. In closing, as we close the chapter of another year of growth and progress in the city of Hot Springs, it is hard to believe how significantly the world and our lives have transformed as a result of the incidents over the last couple of years. From the global COVID-19 pandemic to extreme weather events that impacted our area, I'm confident that we are all eager to turn the page and look forward to a promising new future in 2022. The state of our city has proven to be durable and resilient through tough times, and it is not lost on me how fortunate I am to be the City of Hot Springs City Manager and be part of the amazing team in providing essential services and planning for a bright future for our remarkable hometown at this unprecedented time. It truly is my highest honor. Together, we're going to continue to accomplish many great things. I appreciate your time and thank you for allowing me to serve.